Hi, this is Ollie at the Crafty Whisk, and I'm so glad you could join me today. Today is part 1 in a series I'm doing to show a few ideas so you can give gift cards or money in cards as gifts. I'm starting with easy fold-over cards, which need no special tools or fancy dies, and you don't even need to have stamps. You can just use fancy coloured papers which you can just pick up from Spotlight or even $2 shops. And I am going to be using some of the bows that we learned in one of my previous tutorials if you want to. Let's get started. And they can even fit in your normal size envelopes too, which is a bonus. Now I don't actually have any gift cards on hand, so I'm just using my little Richie's store card to show you how they work. And these, believe me, are really simple. And I'm popping the measurements up on the screen as we go along as well, and I'll try and put them in the description down below as well. So the first few all start off with the base card measurement of 11 inches by 4 1/4, and we're scoring it at 1.5 inches and again at 5.5 inches. I'm going over it a few times because I'm using craft card, and the craft card that I have is actually particularly difficult to score. It's actually quite thick, this one. So we're burnishing our score lines, and we're actually folding it in the same direction. So we're folding it over once, and the first fold creates the fold where the gift card is going to go, and the second fold creates the actual card. So now we're just going to use some score tape, or you could use glue if you prefer, and we're just going to put it on the edge so that the gift card or the cash can still have room to fit in. It will be a snug fit, but that's what we need so the gift card won't fall out. So just burnish down the score tape or double-sided tape, peel off the backing, and then fold it down, and make sure you burnish it down really well so it adheres. And the gift card will sit nicely in there, and it is a nice snug fit. And now we come to the decorative paper or the pattern paper. You can use any pattern paper you like. You can even stamp it if you like as well. So the measurements of this I'm going to pop up on the screen as well. The front panel, you need a 4-inch piece by 3 3/4. The inside, you need 2 pieces, 4 inches by 1 1/4. And then a piece of white cardstock inside, 4 inches by 3 3/4. That's the piece you can write your message on. And the ideal thing with this, like the piece I'm using here, if you use a piece that's already decorated, that's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything further. So you can whip these out super quick. You can either use glue, double-sided tape, or tape runner. And you'll see during this video I have a few issues with my tape runners. I've been making a few cards lately and all my tape runners keep running out on me. So I tend to pick up a few during the course of this video. I think in the end I just give up and use glue. So you just stick that onto the front panel. And then one of the smaller pieces goes onto the pocket that we made. And the other one goes onto the very right of the card, and that just covers up the little bit that you see when the card is closed. So it just decorates that edge and creates a follow along decorated piece so that it doesn't look blank. We don't use glue to stick down the white piece. We can use double-sided tape or tape runner. And the reason we don't use glue is because it's actually really hard to write on glue because it actually leaves a little bit of a raised area where the glue dries. So that's why we have to use tape runner or double-sided tape. And that's the card essentially finished. But if you're like me, you like to have a little bit of glitter, especially when it comes to Christmas, right? So I've just got some sparkly little red stars. And with these, you just pop a little bit of glue down and pop them where you want them to go. And then we can call the card finished. But see, that was really quick. That was, what, we're only about 5 minutes into the video. I know I did pre-cut the elements, but we'll say 10 minutes it takes to make a card. And that's really nothing. And this particular paper pack I picked up from Spotlight, and it's their current Christmas paper pack. And it's actually got some really, really pretty designs in it. But I'm pretty sure Kmart, they've normally got some really nice designer paper as well. Or if you're a scrapbooker, and if you're anything like me and you hold on to papers for years, have a look at your stash of papers. See what you've got. Because you're bound to have something. There we go. Card number 1 done. How easy is that? Okay, card number 2. It's the same thing. I'm just jazzing it up a little. So the measurements are exactly the same. But I'm putting them up on the screen for you again. So you can, what do you call it? You can pause the screen if you like. But all the measurements are exactly the same. So again, you just score it, fold it, burnish down your folds. Now this one I did do a stamped little piece. And this one I didn't do for Christmas. I thought I'd do a nice little birthday one. And I gave him little googly eyes. The googly eyes I picked up off eBay. And they're from Stampin' Up. And the little monster is a stamp set from Polka Doodles, which is a UK company. And they come with some sentiment little strips as well. And they also come with a paper pack. Oh, and this is the paper pack that I was mentioning before from Spotlight. Really, really pretty papers in there. It's actually meant to be a scrapbooking paper pack, but I use it for cards. So you put it together exactly the same way. I actually do prefer to attach the little pocket with the double-sided tape because it leaves no room for error. If you do use glue, you need to be careful that the glue, you only use a little bit. If you use too much and it seeps out a little bit, you can tend to lose room for your gift card. With a double-sided tape, you don't tend to run that risk. And here I'm just showing you that you can use glue for everything except for the white card bit in the middle. I love this piece of paper from the Polka Doodles set with all the eyes watching. I thought it was so cute. All I need now is someone to give this to. And these are the measurements I use for this bit, just in case you wanted to know. But if you're using a stamped image, of course your measurements could be different. And the Polka Doodles company in the UK also have a lot of digital stamps and digital papers. I haven't gotten into the digital scene yet. I'm a bit scared, I must say. I'm not technologically advanced enough. Haven't sort of dipped my toe into that field yet. I prefer the old-fashioned stamping method. But I think they also have, with their digital stamps, they offer coloured ones as well, so you don't even have to colour them in. So in this one, I have used the double-sided tape. And I'm making sure I've got it the correct way because I'm actually going to stamp the birthday greeting. So this one's ready to go. And I'm going to use the same colour ink that I used for the front sentiment. And I haven't used a stamp before, so I'm just doing the lazy version of conditioning the stamp with my fingers, which is naughty, but and I love using the little cubes. I like having a lot of variety of colours with my inks, and it gets very expensive to buy all the different companies and the different colours. So when the companies offer the small cubes, I get the small cubes because then you can have a lot more colours and a lot more variety for a lot less price. And this is how I store my little cubes. There you go, that's card number 2 done. So it's a little bit more work in that one, but it's the same card essentially, just with a little bit of stamping on it. So that's those two. Now this one is the stepped up version. So it's the variation of the theme. So the base card is still the same, 11 inches by 4 1/4, but we score it 1 3/4 and 5 1/2. So the scoring is a little bit different. And again, I'm having a little bit of trouble because I've decided to use the craft card again. Not all craft card is this difficult, it's just this particular batch that I bought in. I don't think I'll be buying this batch again. I can't remember where I got it from. It could even be left over from my scrapbooking days, I think. So again, you fold over the first one, that's the pocket, and the second one is the card. Now the pattern paper, the front is 4 inches by 3.5. The inside you need 2 at 4 inches by 1.5. The white piece is 4 by 3.5. And then you need a second white piece for the front, which is 3 3/4 by 2.5. And then you also need another separate coloured card, which is the same as the base card, which in my case was craft, which is 4 inches by 2 3/4. And again, a dicky tape runner. So I just went to the glue. So this bit I'm doing here is just a decorative element for the front, which I'll get back to later on. So the pocket again is the same as the first cards that we did. Most of it's the same until we get to the front decorative bit. So the pocket's exactly the same. And you can get fancier if you want, even with this, and double layer your pattern paper if you want. I'm just showing you the basic versions, and then you can expand on it from there. Okay, so again for the white, you can't use glue because you can't write on the glue. Now this is the decorative portion. So this bit hangs over the opening. So we only want to glue or to put tape runner over the flap. So we want to leave the other bit open. So it's essentially the same as the other one, but it just looks fancier. So that's all the measurements again for you there. And I'm just going to repeat the card again, and this one will just be a little bit of a fancier, stepped up version of it. But there's so many variations of this that you can do yourself. I'm only showing you the very basic guidelines. And the reason I flipped the card then, I'm sure you noticed that, this cardstock I'm using is textured, and I wanted the texture to be on the outside of the card, and I wanted the smooth side to be on the inside, which is why I flipped it. I actually scored the wrong side of the card, but it doesn't matter. So all the measurements are the same. Now this paper was directional, so I had to make sure that I was putting the paper the correct way up. not upside down. And here's where you can personalise the card as well. You can put their name on the front. This is where I come a cropper with flowers. I'm not a florist. So whenever it comes to putting flowers into position, I struggle. I struggle big time. It normally takes me forever. Now these foam dots, I've only just recently come across these. Most double-sided foam dots are at least 2 millimeters high in loft, and they're too high for a lot of placement. These ones from Snazzy Scrap are only 1 millimeter high, and they're fabulous because you can just do small little embellishments like this one, and they don't stick up like in your face too high. So I've fallen in love with these ones, and I only had one packet available when I bought these ones, and I think she's just done a restock for Christmas, and I missed out on my last order. So in the new year, when I order some more things from her, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'll be ordering some more because they are fantastic. And they might be a little bit big, but you can cut them in half. And I've just bought some new dies off of her too. So in some upcoming videos, I'll be showing you those because the toolbox video that I did was one of hers. And she's just brought out some new ones. And oh my goodness, wait till you see them. They're fantastic. So I couldn't help myself. I had to bring out those little red sparkly stars again. And this paper is from that same paper set from Spotlight. And this is the shimmer from the Nuvo Aqua Shimmer Glitter Gloss that I use a lot. Just gives a subtle sparkle. It's really hard to pick up on camera, the subtle sparkle it gives, but in real life it's very, very pretty. Really nice for fairy wings and bee wings. And of course the Glossy Accents, which is really good for glasses like spectacles and cherries. And things like that. There we go. And then I couldn't help myself. I had to stick something inside. Because why not? There we go. Now the Glossy Accents, I've actually put around the honeycomb there. And then the Nouveau is on the bee wings. It's a bit hard to see. And can you notice the bow in the top corner? That was from one of the previous videos that I did. Now this is a variation on the theme. So it's 11 inches by 4 1/4 base card, and we're scoring it at 1 1/2 and 6 1/4. So we're folding over the 1 1/2, and then that forms the pocket, and then folding it over again. And that gives us not quite a square, almost a square card, which lends itself to forming almost like a gift style card. So once again, to form the pocket, I use the double-sided tape. Now the pattern paper for this, the front is 4 inches by 4 1/2, and then the pocket inside is 4 by 1 1/4, and the white is 4 by 4 1/2, and you must attach the white first, not what I'm doing here, which I discover in about 30 seconds. And the reason you have to attach the white first is because the gift card will catch on it if you don't attach it first. And here I realise. See, even I make boo-boos. But that's okay, because I've only just adhered it, so it comes off reasonably easy. So you put the white on first so that the gift card easily slips in and out. And then you put the pocket down. There you go. And now we decorate the front, and make sure it's the front, because I've made that mistake too. Now the strips that I'm using are 3/4 of an inch wide, and it doesn't matter that there's a hole in one of them, because I'm going to pop the hole towards the middle and the other strip will cover it. And even though it's glitter paper, it's actually really, really thin. And I got this from Dawn Lewis Imagery. She's an online shop in Sydney, and it's really thin, and the glitter doesn't fall off, it stays on. And it's also what I made the bow out of. And it's fantastic because it's nice and thin, so it doesn't bulk up your card, and the glitter doesn't fall off, so it's not all over your bench, and it's not all over the card, and it's not all over your fingers, which ends up all over your hair and your clothes. So I'm using my grid mat underneath just to help me centre it, rather than getting out my ruler and putting pencil marks all over the card. But if you don't have a grid mat, you can just eyeball it or use a ruler. And these are the measurements for the double offset bow. And I'll put a link in the description to the tutorial that I did in one of my other videos for the bow. But the bows with this paper work brilliantly. It was so easy to do. So that's the variation. That's my top fold gift card. And now for my last variation for my easy fold gift cards. This is a standard size card. So it's a 5.5 by 4.25 size, normal size card. And we're starting off with an 8.5 by 5.5 base card, which is going to be scored at 1.25 and then 4.25. And then we're folding and burnishing those score lines. The first fold is where the pocket forms the pocket. And now our pattern papers and our white piece of card are 5.25 by 2.75, and then the two inside are 5.25 by 1 inch, and then the white piece is 5.25 by 2.75. I do have 2 pieces of white there. If you want to use 2 pieces, you can. I don't. I haven't in any of the cards in today's tutorial because I actually prefer to have the one side as the colour of the base card. So we've got the 2 strips, one on the pocket and one on the side edge. And then we pop down our piece of white, again, not using the glue for the white. And that's where you can put the white down. If you do put the white down, again, it must be done before you attach the pocket. Now with the pocket, because it's a normal size card and the gift card is small, you need to put more of the double-sided tape, otherwise the gift card can fall out. So I suggest using 2 of the strips or using a wider size of the tape. The tape I'm using is a 1/4 inch tape. But if you're using it for cash or notes, then you can just get away with the 1 strip. And you can see there that it doesn't fall out. Now with this one I thought I might pop some ribbon on the front. I didn't really want to detract from the really pretty paper. And again, this was just from, I think this one was from Kaiser Craft or a Uniquely Creative paper set, one of the two. It might have been Uniquely Creative actually. And their paper packs quite often come with these little tag die cuts in them. And I thought it was actually quite pretty. This would be nice for like a wedding or engagement sort of thing. And I had some of this ribbon lying around from when I did my cake decorating. I used to put it around the base of the cake boards. So I thought, well, that would actually be really pretty. So all I've done is literally just wrap the ribbon around the front of the card, tied it in a bow, put the tag on there. And I didn't like the way the tag was like flapping around. So I got one of those little foam circles and I just popped it underneath just to secure it so that it wouldn't flap around, and Bob's your uncle. So I really hope you enjoyed that today. That was the easy version. So I'll have a couple more videos coming up where I'll just sort of up the pace a little bit with getting a little bit more intricate. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to click subscribe. See you later.